Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Today I'm going to show you how to do a pattern for our Christmas knitting series. I did a video about a week ago, might be longer depending on when this video is being posted, but it was telling you about Christmas knitting, talking about Christmas knitting, discussing do you knit gifts for your friends and family for Christmas, and talking a little bit about some simple patterns that you could use for knitting. Had a few ideas in there, and what I said I was going to do is do some stitch patterns to go along with my ideas. And this is going to be a series, my Christmas knitting series, and it's going to release every Tuesday in September and through October of a stitch pattern that I think would be great to use for scarves, stoles, or cowls. Some are textures, some are lace, and I tried to pick patterns that are very simplistic. I like to be able to knit things for Christmas that can go pretty quickly, especially if you have a lot of Christmas gifts to knit. Sorry, my tongue is not working. Anyway, so I tried to pick patterns that were easy to remember, ones you can even memorize. They're no longer than 2-row patterns. Some are 4, most of them are 4-row patterns, but the rows are really simple, like 2 of the rows are the same thing. So these are patterns that you don't have to carry your pattern along with you. You'll be able to memorize them, you know, and you'll be able to figure out where you are in the pattern without, you know, by just looking at it. Okay, here we go. This is gonna be bad. On the first day of Knitmas, Knitting Turnpike showed me how to knit the texture stitch. On the second day of Knitmas, Knitting Turnpike showed me knotted open work lace and how to knit the textured stitch. On the third day of Knitmas, Knitting Turnpike showed me double eyelet rib, knotted open work lace, and how to knit the textured stitch. On the fourth day of Knitmas, Knitting Turnpike showed me Stockinette Stitch Ridge, double eyelet rib, knotted open work lace, and how to knit the texture stitch. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you this stitch pattern that is part of my Christmas knitting series, and I think it would make a really cute scarf. I honestly think it would also make a really cute afghan. You'd have to cast on, you know, enough stitches to make an afghan, you know, depending on what size you want. Like if you wanted to make it for a twin size, full size, queen size bed, or just something that you just like a little lapghan you want to snuggle up with on the couch. It's just a cute little stitch. I think it'd be really adorable. Okay, this pattern is called the Stockinette Stitch Ridge stitch. A little bit of a tongue twister. It is a 4-row stitch pattern, so 4 rows, and so you can easily memorize it. The stitches are cast on. When you cast these on, you have to remember that this stitch pattern, you have to recognize that it has to be cast on in multiples of 2. So I cast on 18 stitches here just to knit up this swatch, but just in multiples of 2. So if you're going to do like a big old afghan, you know, cast on, you know, measure it out, but you know, something like 130 stitches, you know, just make it a multiple of 2. All right, here we go. Let's do the first row. First row you're going to knit all of the stitches on the first row. Yay, easy so far. How you guys doing with your Christmas knitting? Have you figured out what you're going to make everybody yet? I seriously think this would make such a cute little lapghan project. Get a little soft, squishy, bulky yarn. Knit up this pattern. Oh, just be adorable. With a little ridge that has on there. That'd be so cute. And this pattern, you can have it memorized after doing it a couple of times. Okay, row 1. Now, row 2, turn it over. And on row 2, you purl the first stitch. Let me fix my yarn there. Alright, now you start the part where you're going to repeat these stitches. So the first is you knit 2 stitches together. And you repeat that stitch until you get to the last stitch. So you just knit these 2 stitches together and just do that over and over again until you get to the last stitch. Just knit them together. And don't worry about the stitch count right now because you'll correct it on another row. Knit those 2 stitches together. Alright, and when you get to the last stitch, you're going to purl it. Okay, that's row 2. Now, you're on row 3. You're going to knit the first stitch, and now you're getting to the part where you're going to repeat this over and over until you get to the last stitch. You're going to knit into the front and back of the next stitch. I have a video that shows how to do this if you need more instruction on this, but basically just knit into the front and the back of each stitch until you get to the last stitch. I'll put a link to that video up above. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me. Also, if you like this series, I would love a comment. If there's a pattern you would love for me to do, please put a comment below. Or if you have any questions about this pattern, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment or ask me questions. I would love to help you. If you're having an issue, if you need to adapt this to a certain size, I'd be glad to help. And lastly, most importantly, I would really love it if you would subscribe to my channel. It would just make my day. I have a lot of things I want to do with this channel throughout the next year, and I would love for you to join me on that journey. Alright, we're to the last stitch here, and we're going to knit the last stitch. Okay, that was row 3. So see, now your stitch counts come back up after knitting those on that other row where you knitted them all together. That's what this row looks like. We're on the last row, which is row 4. You're going to purl all the stitches. Yay! I really like this yellow yarn. It's really bright and cheerful. I like the color of it. I don't usually knit with yellow, but I'm enjoying it at this moment, except I don't like these knitting needles. So I'm running out of knitting needles to do all these swatches, so I'm having to pull out these wooden ones, and I'm used to knitting with metal. These don't slide very well with the yarn, so moving a little bit slower, so apologize for that. So a little bit sticky, if you know what I mean. Okay, that's it, the end of row 4. When you finish row 4, you turn it around to the right side and you start repeating, you repeat those 4 rows over and over again until this is the pattern you get. It's just so cute. Anyway, you just repeat those 4 rows over and over again. Once you do it several times, I'm sure you'll have it memorized. Again, this is the Stockinette Stitch Ridge stitch. I think it's just so cute, so easy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a lovely day full of knitting.